It is time for our first affair. It is the Legend stage, our second step in our journey to crowning a Counter-Strike champion. It starts with Renegades versus ENCE. Undefeated so far, the Australians and New Zealander have done everything within their power to make this a hard-earned victory. So far, 3-0 big wins versus a Vanguard, NIP, and of course, ENCE, a rematch versus the Finns, and this is going to be all talked about by these two lovely jubbly dudes. It's going to be Jacob Pimp. Jacob?
He's Norwegian.
He's on the team.
We're close, we're close.
He's on the team. Jacob Pimp Vinicky, and of course, Chad Sponge Birchall as well. I'm your host, Machine, and let's dig in. Because this, you've already whispered in my ear, Chad, saying, I want to do this differently because of the fact these two teams have met before. But let's focus on the Renegades first, because we have an ex-Renegade on the desk, but this looks like a bit of a polished Renegades from when you were previously there.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is this Renegades team looks like the best mainly Australian contingent that we've ever had competing internationally. Yeah. And I think the fact that they had a boot camp before the minor, they got to stay here for an extra 10 to 12 days between the minor and the first round of the major, that boot camp really helped them because they looked super prepared, right? They had lots of counter-stratting, they had a lot of tendencies booked on in, and you could hear in some of the interviews, they were prepared for a lot of scenarios, and they were quite calm, and their map pool felt deep. They even won a game on Nuke.
Yeah, that's madness. An interesting point was that JKS was focusing mostly on their mindset in his interviews, talking about how their mindset going into games was better. I mean, I guess that's a valuable asset to the team as well.
It's a big part of being good at Counter-Strike, having the right mindset going into a matchup, because all these teams, all these players, they're playing a lot of Counter-Strike, they're practicing a lot against each other, and they're all pretty equal when it comes down to skill level and when it comes down to their abilities on the server. But if you can manage to have a better mentality coming into the game, just having those extra 5%, that's going to help you a lot, and that's going to go a long way, especially when the field is so narrow as it is.
Yeah, and I mean, Chad, I'm sure you can provide additional insight there. The fact of the matter is you've played with these players. Mindset going into games, was it not always there?
No, we normally had a loud team when we first started as Vox Eminor, and we would play a lot of momentum, but as we evolved and adapted and tried to play more of like a European or mainstream meta of Counter-Strike, the hype had to die off because it's not sustainable. But then nobody was there to push them through, keep them in a, a positive mindset. Right now, having Kassad behind them as the returning coach, I think he brings a lot of that hype, along with Azza doing the in-game leadership role, who I think has been doing a fantastic job, especially with mid-round calling, because Renegades, in that last map against ENCE to get through on Mirage, they had to do a lot of mid-round 2v3s, those kind of plays to actually get them across the line in a 16-14 victory.
You can see, of course, the rosters on your screens. ENCE playing more games, hence the more kills. Don't panic. ENCE, of course, falling to Renegades and forced into a rather intense best-of-3 versus Winstrike, at least at times. But they are here as well, and we shift focus to them now. The Finns that could, and I think many expected them to be at this stage of competition.
Definitely. They've been on a steady rise ever since they made this Finnish project, creating a full Finnish team, something we haven't seen in a long time. Obviously, the biggest star of the team, Alo, who's been on and around. He's been playing for NIP, he's been playing for Mousesports, but now finally he's back home where he belongs, and he found some good teammates to actually make this project work. I think ENCE is a very interesting team. I think they're super stable. I think they have a lot of variety in the way they play. I think they have a lot of young players as well that can step it up when needed. So overall, ENCE is to me very interesting because I think we're not seeing the ceiling just yet.
I don't actually think that this is the veto because it will be a best-of-1 scenario. So the veto will most likely end up on Train or Inferno, Alex, because those were the last two maps remaining when they played in the best-of-3. So that means it's the middle ground for both these teams. So it's just going to be who gets the pick. That would have been, that's not the veto at all. So the maps is actually going to be Inferno, just for everybody playing at home.
Okay.
And yeah, I believe ENCE will be starting on that CT side. Here we go.
I think this might be the one. Wiggle of magic fingers.
This
looks more realistic. So you said Train or Inferno?
Yeah.
And there was the choice. It was given to Renegades, and they
surprises me. That does surprise me because I thought it would be easier to prepare for a team like ENCE and their default on Train, but they've gone with Inferno, and one of the last times that Renegades played on Inferno, they actually lost to Greyhound quite significantly, right? So the fact of the matter here is when you look at this ENCE team and their runs on Inferno, they started on the CT side and they had massive hauls, 13-2 halves in the last two games, which went on, I believe, in the minor, and they blew teams out of the water. So I think here, it's a comfort zone to start on the CT side of Inferno in a best-of-1 scenario.
I definitely agree, but it also speaks into the fact that I do believe Renegades have prepared, as you were alluding to in the pre-game, the fact that you have Kassad behind him, always preparing, always coming in, well knowing what to expect from the different team when they're going up against him. Inferno is one of those maps, if you find a loophole in the defense, if you find something to utilize, it can quickly spin out of control.
There was something that we didn't touch on. You were talking about Alu before. He just had a baby. He went home after that challenger stage to go and be there with his partner and the child. And the fact of the matter is that is going to affect them. That is an out-of-game factor. That's less time that they would have been able to practice. And your focus, if you've just had your first kid, how much is it going to be on the game? I know this is your career. I know this is your job. I know this is do or die. But it's the first game. It's a best of one. Nobody's going home. I think mentally that has to play a factor, right? It would for me.
I think it would. I think quite the contrary. I think if anything, that's going to drive me forwards. The faster I can get this one win, secure my space for the major, the faster I can have a sigh of relief and focus can shift elsewhere. I mean, ENCE, of course, they're going to be pursuing the champion stage, but I think bare minimum is come back to the next major, and that is, of course, a best of one win. It doesn't get easier than this. Your opening game is your best shot. If you are going to secure a ticket to the next major, you need one win in this stage, and we'll see exactly if it's who's going to be taking that one. So we know the map, we know the teams. Why on earth am I still struggling to put stock in the Renegades? They 3-0'd. They got the same result as NRG. We've just sung praises about NRG, and yet still I find myself hesitant to talk about the Renegades in a positive light.
I think because it's the first time we actually see consistency coming out of Renegades. We've never seen Renegades consistently perform ever before. We see them in Pro League, we see them in certain tournaments doing well, but not on a consistent level. So being able to believe that then all of a sudden can turn this lineup and turn this team into a consistent delivering team, that's hard to believe also for me. That said as well, I know they're facing ENCE now, but moving on into this stage of the tournament, it's a complete different level. Can Renegades pull it up another notch? I doubt it, but it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, for ENCE, it's been a gradual rise upwards. For Renegades, it's just been peaks and troughs, right? They've had some good events, they've had some really bad events, and that's been plagued by roster changes and trying to find their feet. But I think one of the key points that they have going into today's matchup is we know that they're going to be very well prepared. We know that they've done a lot of counter-stratting in the past, and that's something that's going to play in here. But I don't think that ENCE are going to go in and just go, we'll just play our style. They're going to look to the same. They're going to look to rattle these players, shake them up a bit with counter-stratting of their own, looking at tendencies and seeing what they can exploit, because those things have to come into play when you get to this level of counter-strike.
So let's theorycraft just a little bit. Where do these wins come from? Because at the moment, I have to be honest, this Sergey conversation about, oh, the next best thing, this is the best thing since sliced bread in the world of Counter-Strike, keep your eyes on Sergey, I haven't been particularly blown away.
Nah, but you will be at some point. He's a very, very good player. He's 16 years old. He was playing at the major now as a 16-year-old. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulder. Not only is he only 16-year-old, but he's also considered to be the best player on this team together with Alu. So there's a lot of pressure on him right now. And you'll see, whatever it's going to be at this event or for the future, experience will tell. That said, though, the biggest problem for me with ENCE, we were casting the game as well. Alex, Ariel, he was having a rough time. He is one of the best players on ENCE when he's fired up. He's very instrumental in the way they get the opening picks. He goes for a lot of those duels, goes for a lot of opening picks, and it didn't work out for him at all against Renegades. So he needs to step it up a notch if they want to win this one.
Keep your eyes on him, but keep your eyes on your screens, because it is time to get this first game underway.
The players that are here, they all know what they are playing for. They all know that this stadium makes legends.
It is now packed, it is sold out, whether you're here in the flesh or you are watching at home, wherever you might be in the world. Today is going to be something special.
When it comes to major, it's the tournament everyone wants to win.
Our expectations are immediately to be the best team in the world.
This is competition. No one deserves to win, whoever shows up.
It is the biggest tournament of the year. Everyone strives to be here to win this tournament.
So it doesn't matter who you play, who you beat. The most important thing is just to leave the trophy in the end of the week.
Welcome to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2019 Major Legends Stage. Ladies and gentlemen, ENCE Esports. After playing in the highest echelons of Counter-Strike, a Finnish sniper returned to his home country, assembles the strongest domestic players, and now wants to take down the world's best teams. Versus the boys are back. Please welcome Renegades. This is the Renegades' third major in a row and their first time in Katowice.
The Renegades versus ENCE. Sexy stage for the Legend stage. Of course, we're going to be chopping and changing every single week. Don't get too comfortable because this one is going to be long. A marathon of Counter-Strike 16 best of ones today. We start with ENCE versus Renegades, and now we need to outline exactly how this one is going to be playing out. Still Chad and Pimp joining me. I think Kassad is that conversations that you've already been starting. Renegades do look more prepared than ever before.
Yeah, and I think, you know, he is an emotional leader as well for that team, right? Azza is doing all the mid-round calling. Obviously, Kassad is contributing in a lot of strategy bits and pieces. But I don't know if everybody heard that. That was quite entertaining. Look, I wanted to talk about this whole stage situation. The fact that now we have these guys sitting here in front of a crowd. I don't actually think that's going to play in at all because to begin, it's, you know, only a very small crowd. And it's only in best of one scenarios. Both these teams aren't hugely experienced in front of crowds or on the bigger stages. But like I said, I don't feel that's a massive issue for either team in this environment right now.
If anything, it gives motivation. If anything, it gives you focus. I feel it just creates the environment that you're actually playing on lane. All these matches we've been witnessing so far has been in studios in front of nobody else than a camera guy. So having to play in front of a crowd, whatever that's a big or small one, it just creates this whole feeling of being at a lane. And that for some players, it elevates them. And obviously for others, it can be a burden.
Just something that I've noticed with this ENCE roster, when they can't get the ball going on their T sides, or maybe even the CT, Alexi B, the in-game leader, likes to take a lot of risks. He makes a lot of maneuvers on his own to get room, find an opening pick, and then he can make a call from there. If that has to happen, he's holding over towards the B bomb site on that CT side. If Renegades can bully him or make him feel uncomfortable, make it feel like X7 isn't doing his job as the occasional anchor, I can see Alexi going for some, you know, all-out plays that can really be exploited. So it's a little bit off the cuff, but you see him do it on maps like Train on the T side. He pushes in as a cutout. So he's a player who, if it's not working the way he wants it to, he's going to take matters into his own hands. But on a map like Inferno, Alu and Gratisfaction, the two AWPers for each team, the impact, it's hard to see, right?
Yeah. I want to see that T-side Alu or on Inferno. The map is Inferno. Renegades and ENCE. One of them will be coming back to the next major. We find out who as we jump into the action. It's going to be Vince Hill and Jason O'Toole to guide you through as we jump into Game 1, Day 1 of the Legend stage.
Yes, thank you, boys. Couldn't have done it better myself. ENCE and Renegades going head-to-head, and this is the first time we've got that live crowd at the Legend stage of IEM Katowice, of the Counter-Strike Major, here to see the young stars. Pistol round is live, and we have X7. Oh, he's taken down by Jacob. A quick rush towards this B bomb site. Now they're going to be able to get in, and there's no way that ENCE is going to be there in time.
Certainly not. Alexi B, though, has to try and watch out from the garden alongside Aerial. Sergey, the young talent, could be called upon to go huge in this round if they want to pick up the pistol. Of course, in these best of ones, every round so vitally important. Alexi B going to get taken out courtesy of JKS, leaving Aerial to make a move. But the players have been thinned out so much from the Finns, it's so difficult to see how they can pull this one off. Aerial's been dinked to make matters even worse, and Sergey is going to find himself one, but surely the damage has already been done. Player from Pit's going to be Liaz. He's going to open up his account in this round alongside Aerial, who comes in for two. May not expect two players to be stacked on the banana side, and unfortunately for ENCE, Azza was playing passively. Renegades will pick up the first round.
That is quite nicely done. Aerial almost able to handle it, but just not to be. Very, very close round. Nice job. But they mentioned him at the desk, a player who has to absolutely step up and be a big factor. That time, almost able to do it. But Renegade's going to get out to a good start. Pistol round goes to them. It's 1-0. Scout going to be bought up by Sergey, so ENCE don't want to give up any kind of momentum. They want to bounce right back into this.
Scout play for Sergey. Just having a quick peek down mid. Going to find himself a couple players, but not able to capitalize on it. Meanwhile, Renegades are pushing very aggressively up Banana. There was Molotov down there originally. Just to fend them off. But that has cleared. Jacob's going to open up with two. And although ENCE did hold the line with X7, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Alexi B, though, with his CZ, is also going to put it to use, and this is where the upgraded pistols, the UMP, are really going to come into play for the Finns. A lot of chip damage has been done across to the Ts, and Sergey lands a beautiful shot onto Liaz.
This is sketchy now. This is very tough. Now they can play it passively. They have the man advantage, and they know the bomb has to go down. Renegades have to be really careful. They have a minute. They can do the fakes to try and flush some players out of position, but actually just going to stick it. Bold by JKS using the cover of that smoke, but they know exactly where he is. A little bit trapped until that flashbang helps. The smoke plumes. And now we have a retake, but still, small advantage to ENCE.
A tiny advantage, but could open up if they can get this first kill on the retake. The position's pretty solid for Renegades. They don't have any grenades at this stage to fend them off. Flashbang in the eyes, but here's JKS, double spray with the Khalil. The extra bullet's actually coming good for once. Now JKS one-on-one with Aerial, who is pushing him onto the box, has the drop on him, but valuable time is being wasted in amongst the fray, and it's not going to be a kill anyway. Renegades hold on to the 2-0 lead.
That was so dicey, though. Now, the nice thing is, because it's a full investment from ENCE, Renegades is going to get a bit of a breather here, you'd imagine, unless ENCE feels like they can do another force buy along those lines. Some kind of element of danger, but great job by JKS using the bomb timer, using the bomb ticking as an extra teammate, essentially turning that into a 2-on-1, realizing that his opponent would be forced into an awkward fight just in the hopes of winning the round. 2-0 for Renegades.
Yeah, 4 USP CZ. As you say, minimal investment. That grenade damage, though, down mid is significant. JKS is going to take the brunt of it. Gratisfaction and J can both get tagged as well. There's a stack up on the CT side from ENCE, maybe could filter in for a frag, but you can see the bulk of Renegades are pushing A anyway, which is where X7 is all alone with his upgraded pistol. So this round should be going the way of the Australians plus New Zealander.
Oh, nice of you to make the Australians everywhere are rejoicing.
Plus New Zealanders, to be fair. They'd be mad if I said they were
yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, just one player defending this bomb site, but actually Renegades, they're going to fall back. So they think that the amount of pressure, the noise they've made up mid, has likely forced ENCE to rotate over towards A. It's just not the case. This could actually be sketchy again. Now, still huge advantage for Renegades, just USPs. There is the one CZ on Aerial. See how this goes. Utility being used. Owls are going to lead the way. Actually, the 2 SMGs going to lead the way. But there's the CZ with a double kill, and now this gets dangerous. They have to enter into the bomb site, but they're not winning these fights. And there's Sergey. One more, and it looks like ENCE might have just done it. Just Jacob left. 1 versus 3. He's got plenty of time. He can play this patiently, waiting for the next peak. And he's going to back off and use some of his utility.
Such an awkward call when it seemed like they had control over A. Walk into the trap and it's been sprung. Jacob, 24 seconds to play it with, being baited out, and the Finns have done it. Only 1 CZ, 4 USPs, and they actually get the round going their way. That's unbelievable.
That's going to be heartbreaking when Renegades watch this demo back. A completely free A bomb site, just one player there with a USP, and that's the thing. This is the only piece of danger that ENCE has, is this CZ. The fact that it's able to get a double right at the start and slow that hit down is huge. ENCE can use their crossfires perfectly then, and even the diminished weaponry doesn't really matter a whole lot. Renegades put on the back foot early. Still a 2-1 lead, and they are going to buy into this. Deagles, only JKS saving 2,500 after the buy. And actually, he looks like he's running back towards spawn, maybe to fill up on all the nades and the armor. So a little bit of miscommunication, maybe forgets to buy, but no huge loss.
Yeah, with those 2 AK-47s that have now been picked up on the side of ENCE, it's just going to bolster them that much more. UMP and the AUG joining alongside it, clumped in mid. One player back, I believe that's Liaz on the T-steps. Be watching just to make sure none of the CTs push down Banana. There is a smoke in their eyes at the time being. But again, it does seem like Renegades are about to walk into a bit of a crossfire that's being established in mid, plus Aerial back in pit. If they can somehow make a move through quad, it's not looking good for the T's here.
Molotov going to help neutralize, maybe disconnect the timing on this push up mid with this smoke, and that's Sergey. The flames keep him safe. No one can go for a trade on that kill in towards Boiler. They're exactly right. It is going to be tough for the terrorist side. Renegades forced to slow down. No rifles, no weaponry other than the pistols, and now Alu's forced back. But there's so many players here. They can spam through the smoke, but CT spawn's been opened by Gratisfaction, wrapping over towards Library. Another kill. The AK is salvaged, and all of a sudden things have turned.
Turn around briskly, and now it's pretty much Renegades returning the favor. Really poor buy. Gratisfaction insta headshot onto X7. He was the last line of defense on B. And I think at this stage, ENCE safe. There's no real hope of them retaking. Sure, they've got kits and some nades, but they know that their economy is going to be so destroyed after this round if they can't keep these weapons.
What a great round from Gratisfaction. I'm not sure. Alu got isolated pretty heavy in that CT side archway. He had 2 teammates, obviously the smoke blocking them. I thought that might have been enough to be able to just deal some damage through it, but they turned that corner so fast. Caught Alu off guard, and the extra AK-47 they pick up off his body does the rest of the work. So a scrappy match so far, a back-and-forth affair between Renegades and ENCE. Which you'd kind of expect. This is where the pressure really starts to mount. And remember, as I mentioned, look at this stage that they're playing on in the Legend stage. This is a pretty early time in the tournament.
So sick, in front of a crowd. This is the first time, right?
Yeah, it's
so
beautiful.
It really does add a different element. Also want to make a correction. I forgot about the Norwegian.
Okay.
Jacob.
Yes.
Feels bad, man.
Does feel bad.
Apologies. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see that you've got a crowd, you've got a bigger stage. I mean, this stage would be huge for most tournaments. Never mind the Legend stage, and of course, we've got an even bigger one prepped for the next one.
Yeah, when that Spodek gets all set up and all beautified, it's going to be a glorious thing. Very powerful buy for the Renegades with some money behind it, and ENCE as well. Picked up the AWP, just the 1 SMG and Alexi B. Aza going to lead the way up Banana. Using the Molotov, there's no swing. Alu taking a bit of a risk, but he's almost paid off. And now though the op is in play, he just barely misses the ankle.
Just a matter of millimeters from landing that leg shot, which of course would put one of the terrorists in range for grenades. They'd have to play even more passively on Banana. But they're okay to keep pushing the issue for the time being. Smoke going to be deployed just to cordon them off. They can't afford to push just yet. So really stalling the round down are ENCE, but an early smoke could prove to be a bit of an issue later on. They do still have 4 in play, to be fair, though, so they can stack them constantly, even get a player across rotation. I think we saw Nip do this a bunch of times. It was Forrest that kept rotating over and throwing another smoke in, so...
Yeah, using the smokes over towards Banana to keep that bomb site safe, and then just trying to funnel them towards the other side of the map.
Of course, this is something that used to make CT side on Inferno brutal, is when the skyboxes were different. You could throw smokes from CT or even A onto B side.
From the rap side, that was brutal. JKS just goes for a little bit of a peek, doesn't see anything. There is an enemy right around the corner, as we can tell from the X-ray. For newer viewers who might be tuning in, that X-ray is only visible to us as spectators. The players cannot see those. Pretty much all you could ask for in terms of map control for Renegades. And they're going to yield it, fall back towards the B bomb site, but they've pushed back, they've postured towards A. No cheated rotation. It's going to be all in these 2 defenders for ENCE to come in. And that Molotov, again, going to slow things down. Nice utility usage by ENCE on the defense. There goes the opening kill again. It's Gratisfaction and X7. So much to do. Cannot handle the recoil. And the bomb is just going to get planted in time. And again, this is going to be tough. ENCE are tentatively rotating over. I don't think they want to risk the AWP this fast unless he gets this pick on top of the box. That might prompt them to move forward.
I think that's exactly the plan. If we can get a pick, we'll go in for it. If not, we'll have to pull back and save. And I think at this stage now, Alu's missed his chance. I say that actually, but as he jumps across, draws out the fire, but loses life in the process. The bomb has been ticking away for quite some time, though. So if ENCE are going to go in, they have to go in fast. They can't afford to check all the angles. Here comes Aerial. Nade to the backside of New Box. This could be the worst-case scenario for ENCE. They could have been faked into this, but no, they decide better of it. They're going to pull back. The correct decision, in my opinion. But Renegades will take a 4-1 lead here, Moses.
Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat. That really was not a great call to kind of go for that retake, so I'm glad they backed off. That 1 kill from Alu kind of lured them into the idea that it was still a possibility, but Sergey was so far away. He was still not even into CT spawn yet, so absolutely the right decision to just fall back. If you get lured into that and you lose everything, that's the disaster. It hurts to give up a round in that fashion, but it's way, way better than losing all your economy.
Oh, it's going to hurt a lot more if going into this round you have no guns to play with at all. You're looking at pistols. I mean, they did win a pistol round earlier, but you don't think Renegades are going to make the same mistake twice. But a timeout has been called. Players discussing with each other as to what's going to be coming up next. I suppose ENCE are in a bit of a sticky situation here where they've got 3 save weapons, but not really the finances to support them on Alexi or X7.
And it probably hurts as well, considering they won that, they won that round with just the CZ and USPs, the 3rd round of this game. And they've kind of tried to do a similar fashion in that first gun round, is play deep into the bomb site, lure them into that hit, use the crossfire. They obviously didn't have the B bomb site stacked, but they gave up a lot of map control in that gun round that we just watched. Renegades was able to push all the way down A halls, all the way up towards brackets. And no information for the CT side eventually hurts when that hit comes in on the B side with 25 seconds left, which is a little bit of a danger in itself, because you could remember there was a Molotov thrown down by the defense before they even entered into the bomb site.
I'm wondering if this is maybe a technical timeout, judging by how the Renegades players are reacting at the moment. A few admins and staff behind the players, it would seem, at the moment, so hopefully we'll get some info soon. There's Gratisfaction, one of the spearheads as to how Renegades are here in the first place. He had a phenomenal challenger stage.
Is he growing like a handlebar mustache that he can just?
Yeah, it's glorious.
Wow, that's one word for it. It is something. That might be the most Outback thing I've seen.
Well, we'll have to see if he can use that mustache and the power of his AWP once he gets his hands on it to good use. But at the moment, they have no reason to use the AWP. They've been so solid with the AKs as an organ play as well for Azza. Early Banana presence being established from both teams, grenades being exchanged. There is a boost over there from the perspective of Alu's gonna see Liaz jump and does chomp down with his AWP. Great first pick fence, just what they were looking for.
Oh, and even the follow-up. Sergey gives up his position, but oh, he's gonna go for it. He wants to get aggressive. That's bold, but he wins it. The risk pays off, and this couldn't have gone better for ENCE coming out of this. Obviously, you could see the plan. Put the AWP in a position to get that opening pick. Gratisfaction feeling lonely. Mustache quivering in fear as he works his way up Banana. Any kill is valuable here. Take weapons away if you can. If ENCE plays this properly, he shouldn't be able to get too much done. But obviously, if he can find a way to block Alu off with that AWP, find this pick into the bomb site, get a plant, that is the miracle performance.
Certainly is, but this 3 players stacked over here does have time and a smoke, so we can at least try and play some mind games with ENCE. If he can 1 by 1, that'll play into his hands, but here comes the rotation. Alexi B, an aerial from the backside of Banana, Molotov to Coffins, allowing him to make the move in. Gonna go for the peek afterwards, does just see a shoulder peeking around the corner, does significant damage. Still trying as he may, but he's been dinked and finished off by Alu. Excellent round by ENCE. Keep in mind, 2 players, I think it was Alexi and X7, had nothing moving into that round. They didn't invest.
Yep, you're exactly right. So Alexi's gonna get a free weapon over there. Gratisfaction played that about as well as you could, using his utility to try and find an isolated fight. First blocking off Alu, that spawn choke point, getting aggressive behind Coffins, almost found it there. And then obviously the Molotov as well and swinging behind it. But this is just, ENCE finds 3 opening kills. So all of a sudden that round just went to complete hell for Renegades. Out of money as well for the offensive side. This is gonna be their last purchase before they have to sit a couple rounds out.
Double mollies being utilized from the B players, gonna once again keep Renegades down. There's a grenade following it up, chips away 3 players. Well worth the $300. They're stuck between 2 Molotovs. That's gonna expend 1 smoke. And keep in mind, they didn't really come into this round with too much. Now it's gonna be the pincer movement from ENCE, both coming in with their automatic weapons spraying through the smoke. X7 going to take the initiative, decide to push the T's. Bomb's gone out in the open, sprays for a second player and gets that too. X7's on a tear, gives his team such an advantage. And now Alexi B is trying to clean up the rest. JKS is able to at least counteract with a frag of his own, but the rotation's already in place.
That's such a sick round from ENCE. The 2 B defenders, they do everything perfect. The 2 Molotovs trapping Renegades, forcing them back, and the aggression behind it as well with flashbangs. JKS can't even get a plan, he goes for it. Sergey's not gonna let that happen. 3-4, ENCE crawling back into this and 1 round away from tying things up.
Looks like we're gonna have no investment in this round either by Renegades. Just cannot afford it whatsoever. I mean, what kind of half score do you think the T's would be happy with here? Are we looking at 5-6 rounds, something like that?
I think at the major, honestly, all that kind of goes out the window. I think with round scores, you're just like whatever you can get. And obviously, when you're at 4 rounds so early in the game, still with 7 or 8 rounds to be played, you're kind of thinking, we can add 3 more onto this. So the fact that they got there so quick, they might be able to get up towards 6 or 7. That would be phenomenal.
I think they certainly would have accepted that if you offered them it before we started this best.
Yeah, definitely. They'd take that, I think, any day of the week.
And this is one of the maps that actually wasn't played in the previous best of 3 between these 2 teams. I think it was their third map, and it didn't get that far. Renegades took them out 2-0. So interesting to see how this evolves and shapes up. Down goes Alexi B, not for the first time. I'm wondering if Renegades are going to start to read the situation and maybe stack a couple of grenades up there further in. Could also be a case that he's just read the situation, knows that they're flat out broke. They're trying to establish some dominance. Oh, the nade damage again. Gratisfaction takes it on the head. And it's looking pretty comfortable for ENCE at this stage. I'm not going to say easy.
Nothing's comfortable, especially when you consider they lost that round against just pistols earlier. Now that was fully, you know, armor brought up, utility brought up as well for the Renegade side. So yeah, this is much easier for ENCE, but certainly not comfortable in any way. You can't expect to be able to win these games if you drop multiple of those rounds, especially just in one half. 4-4 though, in the CT side, I mean, all of a sudden, their coffers are full. Ariel, excuse me, has 10,000. Alu has 9,200. They have a lot of cash. Renegades are going to have to burn through 2 or 3 rounds of buys from the Finnish side before they'll have to save. So all of a sudden, as I said, 4 rounds early, 6 or 7 is very attainable with that kind of a scoreline. It's still going to be a pretty rough grind for them.
All off the back of ENCE obviously winning that round with just 3 guns invested. So it really boomed their economy forwards. Very much the reverse for Renegades, who this time aren't really putting too much emphasis on Banana. Seems like they're going to try and dip on the other side. There were 3 players over here. Ariel, the third of them, is now making a move. Oh, pardon me, it wasn't Ariel. I think it was Sergey making a move through the library side. And speaking of Ariel, he could get tested momentarily. He is the short player. Flash is coming over. Ariel's gone down first. Alexi B's also been plucked out. That's going to put so much pressure on Alu now. He's going to have to hold the line by himself. He's done it time and time again. He's able to get the first one, but not deny the bomb plant. And still, he's very isolated from his teammate. X7 needs to get in there quickly with the AUG.
They know one's rap side, but this is actually not bad from Alu. This position prevents Renegades from getting into a comfortable spot, but the unfortunate part is Alu has to rely on his teammates to do all the heavy lifting to eliminate the opposition and get in, and they just haven't done it. He's all alone here. He's going to go down. Stay alive as long as possible, but a nice job from Renegades. That's twice now you could see they've really exploited that rap side. The first time was on Alu with the pistols, able to get that AK-47, and attacking that seems to be a weak spot, or a spot that at least in this game, Renegades has been able to find success. I would look for them to go back to that in this last third of the half. Also, congratulations to Alu as well. Had to leave very quickly after qualifying for the Legend stage to give, his wife gave birth, his girlfriend. I think are they married?
I think it's girlfriend.
Girlfriend gave birth?
Not entirely sure, but yeah, a father. So huge congrats. You do wonder if that's going to change his concentration or his focus at all. I mean, he is pretty ice cold, so I wouldn't think so.
He's Finnish. I don't think anything gets to him.
I think his focus is just fine, to be fair. But now Renegades, after pushing mid, it's forced ENCE to put 3 players here. Now they're going to go Banana instead. So they're really trying to mentally force ENCE into position. Damage though on Jacob is significant. He's been tagged down to just 15, make that an 8 off a grenade. And Renegades have by and large given up Banana control. It's just Liaz there now.
ENCE has done a really good job on a lot of these rounds of winning the early stages of the rounds. A lot of damage being done. We saw it towards Banana previously, now towards the A-bomb site. It looks like actually Jacob's going to remain aggressive in Boiler, and yeah, that's what happens. Close up to the choke point with 8 HP. Just a stray nade can really ruin your day. Man advantage for ENCE. It means they can play a little bit more passive. They've got everything they could want. Still plenty of utility. 2 Molotovs, 2 smokes, plenty of flashbangs, but here comes that aggression. They've had success here. As I mentioned, there's the timing shot from Alu. Beautifully done, and all that's left is to hit this B-bomb site. A 3-on-5 scenario, and you imagine ENCE is going to cheat one over.
Yeah, I think Renegades have definitely got to be quicker here. They must know that a rotation could be on the cards, but they've waited long enough and not shown their hand that Alu is still interested. So this is effectively going to be a 3-on-2. The choke point and grenades, though, should give favor to the CTs, but down goes Alexi B. He's done so much damage in the process, but not able to stop the bomb from going down. With just 7 seconds, it will be planted. Alu now pushed up, going to get the first kill in this retake, leaving Gratisfaction in a 1-on-3. He did his best earlier in a 1-on-5, but this is asking so much of him. There's a couple of flashbangs in play for ENCE and not much else. This is doable, but it's very difficult for Gratisfaction to really get any kind of a foothold in if ENCE play this correctly. They're going to peek from Banana first, if we see, but he takes the initiative, goes in, finds the player of Sergey on CT, but the insta-avenge frag comes in from ENCE. They're going to tie us back up.
That was a really great slow-played flank from Aerial as well to get that trade. You could see Gratisfaction looking for it, and he's not the one to initiate contact. Also, a very important kill for Alu as he rotates over the smoke on top of the box. You saw him looking for that in the previous rounds as he came over. That's the kill that really neutralizes. I mean, that's a winnable round in a 2-on-3 for ENCE. Able to get the plant and the plant and into positions afterwards to be able to defend it, and he kind of takes all that away. Kassad just patting his shoulder. 5-5 and back to pistols for Renegades, even with that plant. It'll help in the next round when they buy. But here it's just 5 deagles.
I wonder if Gratisfaction's mustache acts as like, you know, cat's whiskers. They can kind of sense things. Or a lizard's tongue.
Maybe that's a question for Frankie.
Can sense direction, maybe a sixth sense. Either way, he's going to be playing with the rest of his team with Desert Eagles, as you highlighted. Lack of weaponry, but of course you can never disrespect the Deagle. If you do, it's going to be to your detriment and your demise.
Yeah, they can turn the tides of a round so quickly, just one shot. It'll be tough for them to find their opportunity. They have to sit with no utility of their own outside of just one flashbang. They kind of have to wait for the smokes to subside. X7, narrow angle, and that board is not going to be a lot of cover if he can't get away, and he does find his first kill. Very slow to back off, and he wants that follow-up fight, and oh, he looks on point. That reaction is very quick, and to go back for more, and he spots 2 more. Can pass some information over to his team, but plenty of safety, especially with Alexi. Flashbangs to allow him to fall back.
And ENCE are playing this really smart. When they know that there's going to be upgraded pistols, the worst you can do is go for these constant peaks and play into the Deagle's power. They're hitting and running, they're keeping in formation, strength in numbers mentality, and going to force Renegades to push this smoke if they want to get there anytime soon. Only 20 seconds left. Looking for a boost. I think Alexi B is going to see that very soon. Not quite, just around the corner. There we go. Peeks out a little bit further, and that's the round done. Bomb's been dropped out. Alexi B padding the stats for 3K, and ENCE very well played in the end.
And they take the lead as well. 6-5 now in the favor of the Finnish side. That's a good recovery in this game. There was a lot of danger, a lot of pressure being put on by Renegades throughout this. Renegades, I would imagine, they haven't actually had a whole lot of success with that B bomb side. I think they go back and attack Rap side one more time.
Yeah, it definitely seems where, especially in rifle rounds, that they've been at their most dominant. Getting picks, converting. They can even play with the idea of a split B if it works out for them. But yeah, Banana does seem like a little bit of a precarious position. Alexi B has been playing so well with the AUG over here. Some chip damage has been done, and Alexi B's actually been dropped to 41. This may be the weakening start that Renegades were looking for, but of course there's no way of them knowing that Alexi B is low. For all they know, they're actually back on the site and haven't been touched at all.
Right, well, I mean, at least they caused that to happen. Look at how far they fell back after Alexi took that damage. This is going to be a much faster hit on the B bomb site. Alexi with the counter smoke, block off the choke point. And they're just going to go in with the flashbangs. They're in front of the smoke now. It's neutralized. Not any effect of that smoke. X7 needs to stay alive as long as possible. Flashbangs are perfect. And the all green's out. A double headshot for Alexi. And again, this B bomb site is just shut for Renegades. They can find no progress here. Finally, Ozza gets involved, but he's traded immediately. Just JKS 1 versus 3. The rotation is here. ENCE 7-5.
That looked so awkward when they were pushing past the smoke, but what a flashbang. Allowing Alexi to double up. Exquisite utility usage affords ENCE a 7-5 lead, and now Renegades back once again into pistols. So since that blinding start that we saw from Renegades, things have certainly slowed down. They've picked up for ENCE. Got to question what's going through the minds of Renegades at this stage. They've got 3 nades and a flashbang. Looks like they're going to be poised up top. Banana, some damage has been done, but it's not to ENCE. Renegades have taken the early shrapnel to the face.
Yeah, that didn't work out the way they wanted it. Much better in their head before that began. Alu sees the elbow, goes for the shot. He's got his teammate on either side, waiting for a commitment from the Renegades. But again, just one flashbang after those nades are used to top banana. So Renegades can't really do anything while these smokes are in place. You're relying on those deagles for one nice headshot, give you a pick, give you an opening in the defense. P250s and Glocks very mobile to follow it up if they do find that. Alu, that's a pretty safe angle to take and a great shot onto Azza. Still his teammate underneath the porch. There's the peek out. They've spotted it. That's what they wanted. Luring him into the open to take those fights, but not able to complete the kill. Sergey and Alu both very low, but ENCE have not been able to clean him up.
No, Liaz has been Molotoved off twice, has to run out into the open. Lambs to the slaughter, and ENCE 3-round lead. They've been playing these anti-ecos very well indeed. They've been giving nothing up for free.
Outside of the one they lost.
Yeah, apart from that one. It seemed they learned from their mistake.
Well, that was also, I mean, in fairness, that was also pretty much a force buy from the Renegade side. Sure. That was Deagle's P250s with full nades. So 8-5, last 2 rounds of this first half for Renegades to try and close the gap, get as many as they possibly can. We mentioned earlier when Renegades was on 4 that 6 and 7 rounds in this half was not outside of the realm of possibility. Last chance for Renegades to be able to fight for 7. ENCE is going to take the lead into the second half no matter what.
Walu not going to get punished for missing the shot, but Alexi B is taking damage elsewhere. JKS going to take a little bit of chip himself as he maneuvers his way into the app side. Again, though, Renegades given up the idea of pushing on B. They're going back to A. And it's going to yield the first kill. Aerial's been plucked out. JKS takes significant damage, but that's a great turn of events. Some more damage from a grenade. The more they posture here, the more likely these grenades are to fly on their heads.
Yeah, I mean, ENCE has been great with utility. This hit comes in, and JKS take him low. Even with the man advantage, they can get doubled up very easy in the pit. Here's Sergey, it's his chance. It's his time, and he delivers. No more pressure coming up mid. They wanted pit first, and it's not gonna happen. And Alu is gonna get the final 3 kills. Convincing defense from ENCE. They have won 8 of the last 9 rounds.
Brutal, absolutely brutal. I mean, it doesn't help matters when you peek Alu 1 by 1 through mid. Into his AWP, you'll see here, just 1 by 1. Easy for Alu.
Oh, he's loving that, absolutely. That's God Alu for you, but Sergey, the double kill in the pit was huge. It looked like Renegades wanted to get 2 players in pit because that would force Alu to just give up mid and rotate around to support the bomb site. If Renegades had been able to get that kill. Unfortunately, not to happen. That delayed hit up mid might have been very difficult to handle. Renegades need to do a better job of avoiding this utility damage. This is what makes things so tough on Inferno at times. This is what, for instance, has given Astralis such a huge strength on this map. So good at dealing damage in the early stages of the rounds with nades, with Molotovs, and ENCE doing a very good job of it here as well.
Again, looking to probe onto the A side of the map. They do at least have Gratisfaction with a Mac-10, who's in Banana. Maybe play some interference later on, but they've definitely shown their hand in mid Renegades. They could pull back, but they've used a lot of their grenades to just get to this position. Still have 2 smokes though, Moses. If they want to push on B and pull back, they do have enough utility to make a go of it.
It is pretty tough. I'm not sure. It's so difficult to attack on Inferno with such light utility. And yeah, you're right. They are just going to fall back towards the B bomb site. They at least force back defense at A. Tough part is Alu's basically in CT spawn. He's in the library just peering out. He's going to have a very fast rotation over. Again, likely a smoke in that choke point. It's just the one from Gratisfaction, and he'll probably lead the way with the Mac-10 as well. But look at the utility damage one more time. For this last round, Azza's going to start half HP.
Well, it has been a masterclass on utility here on Inferno from ENCE. They're constantly whittling away before the Renegades even get close.
That smoke is brutal. That might just end things. I mean, Renegades have to come through this, and it's just... They're losing so many players. A 3-on-3. One lurker up mid is going to get the CT spawn, but they have to plant the bomb. Almost no time, and Alexi's going to rush this. He's going to rush it, and he's going to get the bomb down, and that's it. That's another round for ENCE. They're going to end the half 10-5. A good recovery. It was 4-1 at one point in the favor of Renegades, but ENCE closed this half out with an exclamation point. Dominant defense down the stretch. We're heading to a break. When we come back, we'll see how the defense is for Renegades and if they can recover. A 9-1 run to end the half by ENCE puts them in the lead. They're up 10-5 over the Renegades. Young stars on each team showing up in a big way. It's Sergey, the young Finnish star. A lot of people predicting him to have a phenomenal 2019. He finishes the half at 15-4, but all 5 players from ENCE are in double digits. It's only JKS for Renegades with 10 kills, 11 deaths. And Renegades need to come back big. They need to start with this pistol run. They need to have a phenomenal defensive half.
Yeah, it really has to start with this pistol. You have to feel if they're going to bounce back into this. As you say, the kill dispersal is so close on the side of ENCE that you don't expect they're going to slow down anytime soon. Gratisfaction looking for some information. JKS has found some. And the top of Banana, he's seen a couple of players plus a grenade behind it. But there's been such little time played in this round, it doesn't really tell him a great deal, which is why Liaz is still peeking through mid to see if this rotation is going to start to take shape. And he's found it. There's a couple players there. So he's now going to have the help of Gratisfaction also. Rotating away from B are Jacob and Azza. But this does leave just JKS by himself on B. And a couple players in Banana here, Moses. This could get really awkward real quick. Flashbang over to have a quick peek. No one's home just yet. Jacob, though, going to hold the close angle. Head peeks round, just needs to back away. It's so important he doesn't die.
Renegades are being really proactive for information, and you're exactly right. That puts him also in a position to get picked off. Hasn't happened yet. This is going to be a split towards that B bomb site. 3 players from ENCE coming through, but there's the crossfire. Azza's shown up 3 quick kills. They needed him. He had only 3 in the first half, and he's doubled his scoreline. It's on JKS. The other long-standing member of this roster is going to get dropped.
That was always the risk, having JKS by himself, but the damage is already done. Bomb planted, but it's not going to get capitalized on. Renegades, far too many players. And I'm going to have JKS getting... Jacob, pardon me, 2, and Azza with 3. Renegades pick up the second pistol. Game is well and truly back on here, Moses.
Pretty nice setup from Renegades, though. They were actually able to get Azza rotated over just in time, and that comes down. It is a little bit risky to have so many peaks. It was nice that JKS saw down Banana. He was able to fall back into the bomb site before being hurt. Liaz was looking down towards mid as well, always kind of keeping track of exactly how close ENCE was before they started attacking. And that smoke towards small pit, Azza gets right on the other side of it, and he's got clear vision. 10-6, Renegades picking up that pistol. I think that gives them both pistols in this game, which would be really depressing if they have nothing to show for it, but a buy up from ENCE, this might catch him off guard. It certainly is. Sergey's got an AK, fighting behind the flames. Down to 33 health, but he will survive.
Heavily tanked up their process. The grenades now starting to rip and shred through ENCE. Jacob going to capitalize onto Alexi B. And with a second smoke perfectly placed, stops ENCE from really counteracting with a rush. If they push through this smoke, it's going to be a complete massacre. Oh, the timing on the reload could not have been worse, but he's not going to get punished for it, Jacob.
Might have actually been a good thing, reloading, and as soon as he sees someone, he backs away. Couldn't even have fought if he wanted to stick around. Alu, it feels like, saw that smoke coming and wanted to take a fight just before it plumed, and he's punished for that aggression. 3 players here, final 3 players for ENCE in this round. Molotov, 2 smokes, and a flashbang. And you're probably feeling like you might as well just hit this B bomb site. This is the best opportunity. Here comes the smoke, but that AUG is just too strong. Holding the angles. Jacob able to crouch and pop right back up, and now JKS gets aggressive. Pretty clean sweep for Renegades, only losing Azza.
I've got to say, I'm a bit surprised they didn't throw that incendiary. It was picked up from the corpse in Banana that got caught by Sergey. They didn't toss it in on the approach. I mean, there's a lot of angles that you can throw that Molotov onto on the boost, new boxes that can really mess with the crossfire that's been established. You can see there one of the players that was actually boosted up just drops off. And Molotov could have changed things around with the flashbang.
I think they wanted to try and get in before any counter utility came out. And that might be part of the reason why, but you're exactly right. They did have another smoke as well they could have thrown towards coffins, but again, that was just going to give Renegades the knowledge of exactly what's coming, maybe allows them to rotate over a little bit faster. Either way, 7-10. Renegades starting to stabilize, especially surviving that second round bye that could have caught them so off guard.
Yeah, pistol's the state of play for ENCE as they look to try and make some kind of moves through mid. Grenade's going to be there to counteract them pretty much. Sergey really struggling. Crossfire with the bait into Alcove. 1 player does get dropped from ENCE, which isn't too bad considering their investment or lack thereof. But the Renegades off to 3 consecutive rounds on their CT side.
It's poor Azza again, who's the only one to fall in those second and third rounds. 10-8, this is where the real trouble comes for the Renegades. You're going to have AK-47s out on ENCE, all 5 players, full utility as well. They can really open up the playbook on this one. And finally, we didn't see it on the T side. We know it's tough. Gratisfaction going to get that AWP in his hands.
Yeah, plus I guess not every... Oh, it was I think that was a knife, right?
That's not ideal.
Oh dear. Well, it's AKs anyway, so if you get a headshot, it's pretty much going to go down regardless. But yeah, a lot of AWPers typically don't even like AWPing on the T side, because there's very little in terms of possibilities. Plus, if your economy's constantly in turmoil, it's going to be an issue. But let's see what he can do. He's a very solid AWPer, had a great challenger stage with this gun. And so far, going to be playing more passive. I don't think it's lost on Renegades how important it is to win this round and really secure some foundations on this half. Nothing passive about this banana take, though. Renegades do decide to back away now that the smoke is starting to clear.
JKS still being pretty aggressive over towards Banana, peeking in that half wall, and actually at half HP. Renegades confident enough to leave him there all on his own, much like the pistol round. They really are enjoying this 4-man stack over at the A-bomb site. It always comes down to if that sole defender in Banana can get away. He still has a smoke to delay, but as we saw in the first half, that smoke doesn't always hold terrorists back. They can go through that. And actually, there's a deep pop flash. JKS might get pressure to put this out. X7 with a huge pick towards the A-bomb site. He's going to start coming through his own smoke, wrapping around, but it's the B hit. It's JKS who has to do everything. A gap in that smoke makes this a little bit dangerous for him as well.
Now Gratisfaction starting to make a move over, and ENCE haven't been fast enough to really make the most of this. Now they're going to start to push, but a beautiful counter flash keeps them in bay for a few more seconds. Now Gratisfaction is getting dangerously close from Coppins, but his linchpin, his anchor of JKS has been found, and his AWP is going to have little to no impact. Not able to stop the bomb plant, and at this stage, Renegades will just save. It's such a hard site to retake 2-on-4.
Especially when the AWP is your rotator, and part of that is because of the pick that X7 was able to get up mid, but when your AWP is your rotator towards the B bomb site, when you arrive, there's a smoke at Coffins, there's a smoke in that main choke point, you have to get aggressive, you have to overextend through if you're going to try, especially with the amount of time that was on that clock. If that's an M4, much more wieldy coming through a smoke when you have no idea what's on the other side. The AWP, a little bit more difficult to handle. It is going to pass over to ENCE, that'll be given to Alu in the next round. But it's going to be back to 11-8. So Renegades inch close. But ENCE take one more step forward.
With these 2 safe weapons, though, there will be another buy on the horizon. Liaz and Azza can both drop if they need. I think it was Gratisfaction that's lowest on funds, because, of course, he went in for the AWP in the round prior. So he's going to have an AUG. No, actually, they're going to drop him an AWP. So a couple of AUGs in play alongside the AWP. So it's going to be pretty much going right back in again for Renegades. Curious to see if they'll leave JKS on B alone again, or if they'll bolster him up with a second player.
I imagine they would, just because we've seen it already in the first gun round and in the pistol round. That seems to be, you know, something they want to do, maybe a game plan against ENCE specifically, or maybe just their typical default. And there you can see part of the reason why it's so annoying to utilize the AWP on Inferno on this T side. Nades always in the choke points. All Gratisfaction. Great peek. Here's the footsteps, and X7 trying to go at the same speed as his teammate who's jumping up. Not able to coordinate very well. Fast towards the B bomb site, almost a contact play. That's the bomb down. Rotation's gonna be called. Jacob, excuse me, comes through that smoke, and that's a bit of a weird hit.
It is especially sending the bomb out first. Like, if a player dies out the smoke, they could think, okay, it's just an interference, it's a fake. As soon as you see that bomb drop, it's like, okay, well, just rotate. There's no reason to keep players over on the A side other than to stop rotation themselves. So really wrecked ENCE with pushing their bomb carrier in first, and you can see how much time's left. They were in no great rush.
No, I mean, this is, yeah, that's a very curious call to come through. Just 2 players attacking that bomb site. You can still kind of fight for this round. I mean, I guess your goal would be to take weapons away. You have some money on 4 players who'll be able to have AKs in the next round no matter what, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Maybe see what happens when you initially attack and then save that AWP towards the end of the round. Here comes Aerial. Stunning headshot to open things up. How much more can you get? All 4 players from Renegades are here at the moment. Do they realize? Counter flash comes in. Aerial's not in safety, and neither is Alu. A nice wipeout from Renegades.
Yeah, that kill almost baited them in. A 1-for-2 trade. I'm sure Renegades will take that every day of the week. It stops an AWP in the hands of Alu. As you said, they can invest in this round, but a couple players would be low. Sergey, 2,200. Alu, 3,400. So if they do go in for a force, someone's going to be down to a Glil, maybe a UMP, and then actual fact it's a Mac 10. So this does afford them more utility, but it's not exactly what you'd be looking for in terms of firepower.
It's not ideal, but like we see so frequently, you can send that Mac 10 in first to flush players out of position, get information. Gratisfaction almost with an opening pick down mid. We know his speed, from the time he sees an enemy to scoping in and firing, it's very, very quick. And pretty damn accurate as well.
Yeah, certainly a more aggressive AWPer, one that, when he's feeling it, is going to be taking all the peaks. And he's landed a couple of beautiful shots already, so no reason for him not to continue unless he has a poor spawn. And this is the other downside of their purchase. As it stands with over a minute to play with, they've only got 2 smokes and a few flashbangs to play with here, Moses. So this is going to be looking like a more clumped up aggressive play.
This T-side so far, though, hasn't been anything to write home about. Got to be worried if you're ENCE. Running low on utility as well. 2 smokes, 3 flashbangs. It looks like that 1 pop flash allows them to get up mid. They can slow things down from here, but actually completely blind. That's the Mac 10. They now know where one of the AUGs is. That's a nice elimination. Jacob still alive in CT spawn. Liaz got to do everything, but this scope provides him so much power, but so does the 1-bullet headshot. Gratisfaction doesn't know where to look, and all of a sudden, the floodgates are open. ENCE are into the A bomb site. JKS has to save. And that keeps ENCE in fighting position in the rest of this half. That would have been a save run if they were losing that one, but this keeps them flush with money.
I'm still not entirely sure what happened there. I think Azam may have had a bit of a whiff. As soon as he goes down, the crossfire goes with him. And at that stage, as you say, Gratisfaction stuck on the site with 2 separate angles to watch out for. He's got no hope. There's no chance that he can hold the line there by himself.
No, not inside the bomb site. The only way to do that is to get aggressive towards either lane or wrap side. And he was just in the middle of the site with no idea which one was the best to go for. Tough situation for him. 12-9 now for ENCE, and the money that is over on the Renegades defense is not great. JKS obviously saving a weapon. Liaz and Azza can buy if they choose to. Jacob's kind of hurting. I imagine we'll see a timeout here from the Renegades to talk things over. This is a big, big round. Whatever decision they make here is going to have huge implications. If they buy and lose this round, ENCE has like the red carpet to a victory in this first map, or in this only map of their match.
I guess you could say the first map of the Legend stage, right? It would be a hell of a start.
That's what I was going for initially, and I think my brain took a little bit of a turn at some point.
Nailed it, mate. Nailed it. Never in doubt. But ENCE, yeah, as you say, this is such a vitally important round that, of course, they're going to call a timeout just to mull things over, discuss them. They've got the saved AUG, of course, we know that from the previous round. They've got a Molotov in the hands of JKS. Do they add any more weapons alongside that? It doesn't look it. I think we're going to have more of a half-buy situation picking up here. Az has gone for a P250 armor. Other than that, there's not too much to talk about, really.
No, I kind of like this decision, though, from Renegades. I think a full investment here with what you had, like right on the line with most of your players that wouldn't have utility, that is a huge risk. So the players who had the money go for light armor and upgraded pistols and some utility. So they still have an element of danger, especially JKS with that AUG. He's been playing over towards the B bomb site, and you'd imagine they want to find a way for him to be the first point of contact for Renegades. We saw ENCE do it with Alu with that AWP, the boost up over the smoke and banana to get him a first pick. But you really want that AUG to have a big impact here and try and use those smokes on Liaz and Azza to kind of keep the attack funneled towards the AUG.
Time dwindling away. Aerial's going to take some early aggression through app side. There is a smoke deployed in mid, but Renegades can't really do anything behind it, plus the Molotov that JKS has been expended at this stage, so no grenades left to play with for Renegades. They're going to take the gamble, 4-player stack on A. I mean, there's not many 2 options available to them anyway, so you understand why they've gone for this, which does leave Jacob with a USP by himself on B, but it doesn't look like he's going to get tested. This is looking like it's going to be an A hit for the time being.
Well, you do have 4 players here. This couldn't have gone better for Renegades. This is the best setup they could hope for. You can see one player getting up top, Liaz waiting. Oh, he just pre-fires when he sees the flashes. He's gonna go for another. Not able to do it, but where's his team? So many players. Oh, the knife is out. Liaz gets it. He's still alive somehow. And this is a disaster for ENCE. It's all falling apart.
What is going on here, Moses? How is this happening? Renegades have won the round and only lose 1 player. Plus a knife, Liaz survives.
Even Kassad can't believe it. How do you drop that one if you're ENCE? It hurts. They went for the all-in play. No scouting, no pressure, and just coming through that smoke. Liaz, a beautiful performance. A rookie at the majors, and that's a good way to get things going in the Legend stage.
I mean, not many people would have known much about him before the major started. And yet, there we go. That's one hell of a way to start things off in the Legend stage.
Remember, their economy was on the ropes, so that knife, on top, the knife is an extra, is 1,500. Oh, hold the thought. B-Rush, here we go. JK walks right into it. JKS is traded after 2, but Ozza's still here. He is the last line of defense. He's got to hold them off for the moment. Rotation's coming in. He's got to stand his ground, and he's delivering. 2 kills, some damage through the smoke, and all of a sudden, Alexi B has such a tough job to do.
Starts off okay though, but he's got no health, and Asa aggressively re-peaks him. And ENCE also forced in that round, by the way, so their economy's still in really rough shape. But that one round that ENCE will be face-palming so hard at, if they concede this map now, yes, that is the moment. That round is the moment.
That is the one they look back on and say, God, how did we lose that? I mean, a really heads-up performance from Liazina. Remember, he just pre-fires that smoke. He sees the flashbangs coming over. He knows where the attack's going to come from. He knows what the flash is designed to do. Perfect positioning to negate the flashbang. And a little bit of luck as he fires through the smoke, and obviously a lot of bit of luck coming in for the knife.
Yeah, at that point, he was just wildly...
He's like, please, God.
Please connect, please connect. Sergey is going to do his best to just limp away from the early incursion. 4 health remains. It is by and large Glocks. There is a Deagle and a P250 in the mix, but no grenades behind it. More damage inflicted this time. It's X7's turn. The receiving end of a battering. And this is Renegade's hope now. Oh dear. Oh, no, it's back. Never mind. Because our screen went off for a second. This is Renegade's chance to draw us all even. And the momentum with that previous whiff, I think it's safe to say, would certainly be on their side on the CT side of things. JKS, not quite on point with his spray, but it's done enough damage to just pull back, and he should be fine. There's also a rotation from Jacob.
ENCE is so softened up. This should be a pretty easy mop-up for the Renegades, for this defense to just kind of clean things out. So if everything goes according to plan, it would be 12-12. Both teams would have money to buy. We'd see them go head-to-head one more time. Some of these ENCE rounds, they've had some very nice T rounds, but they seem to be very all-in. Not a whole lot of plan Bs for the Finns, and Liaz going to continue his tear at the A bomb site. He's got 3 so far, going for a 4th, and he's going to get that too. 12-12, all tied up down the stretch, heading into round 25.
ENCE will have a buy coming in, and a pretty solid one at that. I'm curious what Alu's going to do. He's got 5,800. Does he go in with the AWP? It really is a 50-50 in my mind. Liaz, of course, is going to be reaping the rewards of all the damage that was done earlier from grenades. And Alu has decided that he feels it with the AWP. Now, Renegades have been putting a lot of emphasis on grenading down towards T-steps. Curious if they're going to go for it again. It doesn't look likely. They're actually putting 3 players on quad instead, going to be boosting up and having a crossfire established. This is a really good way of repelling mid-pushes, of course, but this is going to allow Alu some opportunities to maybe strike with his AWP.
His only responsibility for the moment is Boiler. If contact is made up mid, if ENCE travels there, I don't even know if Alu swings. He's got to keep Renegades, or I mean, excuse me, he's got to keep ENCE away from peeking Boiler. The op behind the smoke, just waiting for these to clear. Just over a minute left in the round. Excuse me, Gratisfaction is the one whose responsibility is Boiler.
Smoke's now starting to fade. This is where ENCE will look to try and find themselves some scraps to feed off. Jacob close range with the AUG. This is the stack. You can see there's 3 players here. One is looking towards the wall in case the flashbang comes over. And now it's been sprung, but he's actually the first player to fall. Jacob's going to stand tall with 2 of his own, though. Able to repel the push for the time being. The A site will not be secured anytime soon. There's so many flashbangs. Gratisfaction chips in for 1 and escapes. Lives to fight another day. Gonna have to reposition though. Alexi B's hot on the pursuit. Is gonna get the frag. It's a 1-on-1 post plant now with JKS making a move through mid. Alexi B, there's so many angles he can move back to. JKS is gonna have to take his sweet time clearing each and every one of them. There's been enough time that Alexi could be in pit. He could be towards library side. He has no idea he's still on the site at this stage. Alexi B's just gonna sit in position, watch the cross towards pit, really playing with JKS's mind. He's now making a move onto the side. He's making a bit of noise in terms of footsteps. Alexi B's heard that, but he's given his position away as well. Who's gonna be quicker on the draw? It's gonna be JKS, and he has a kit, so this is gonna get diffused. Renegades will take a 13-12 lead.
Alexi just losing his nerve, pulling the trigger a little bit early, but he had the right play. Isolated at the center boxes, looking towards wrap side for that B rotator to come in. And then obviously transitioning, especially when he hears the footsteps, he knows what's coming. This is that miracle round. Here's the knife, and a very, very speedy knife. Hyperactive knifing. 13-12 for Renegades, a massive clutch down the stretch to win for JKS. And that's a shame, because remember that defense at top mid was perfect for them. The only thing that was a little bit miscoordinated was Gratisfaction's flashbangs right at the end. You could see he actually blinds his teammate when that last player from ENCE comes up.
Which is significant because the Avenge frag came in just at that moment.
And it leaves Gratisfaction in a tough situation with just the op to defend in a 1-on-1. Either way, JKS bails him out.
So ENCE back into another half. Only the one AK-47. Very capable hands. In fact, it's a Galil, pardon me, in the very capable hands of Aerial. Rest with pistols. Gratisfaction's been flashed out again. There's no one there to help him out. Snap flashbang is the freest kill you could ask for. Lias is doing damage, but he's been taken down as well. Holding the line is Asa. Weakened players getting sprawled out 1 by 1. X7's been tagged down very low, but it is going to be another post plant.
A winnable situation, and X7 has another smoke. He can toss that over towards small pit, delay a little bit longer, but with the op, he might choose to keep the visibility. This is so dangerous. If he just gets one, there it is. There's the shot he wanted. He can't land it, and not even the follow-up. It's all on Alu. Nothing to be done, and Jacob gets 2. Renegades have taken control of this map down the stretch. 14-12 lead. But that one hurts the economy. It bolsters ENCE. They have plenty of money. But we said Renegades needed a dominant defensive half. They're getting it. They've only given up 2 rounds, and this one's all Asa. What a hold to start. The extra damage done as well in the last player in the pit. Look at that. That has been beautiful. 6 of the last 7 going to Renegades, 5 in a row. A huge step up in performance.
And what started those 5 rounds?
It's the knife.
That's where it all came crumbling down. ENCE now gonna try and battle back tooth and nail. Gratisfaction narrowly misses out. Be wise to just pull back. Knows there could be HEs flying his way. Of course, we can see there are no HEs available to ENCE. Couple of Molotovs, but no high explosives. ENCE gonna keep 1 player in bananas to keep the CTs interested. Gonna smoke off archers as well. See if they can maybe draw out some grenades from Renegades in retaliation. But so far, the CTs are holding on. They feel pretty confident in their positions. It's a bit more passive than we've seen in rounds prior. That is going to allow some real estate to be taken from ENCE as they push through into mid. Molotov's going to follow it up, one of which has just gone into smoke. That's pretty awkward.
What can they get off this, though? They have that bracket control. Oh, yeah. Pop flash delayed peek. It looks like Asa wants to clear it out. He's going to go for the aggression right into the waiting arms of Alu. How weak is this defense now in JKS? This is a tough rotation to make, a tough call. There is smoke, but he's left Liaz all alone in pit. A weird angle for the terrorist to manage, and he can't hit his shots. He can't see anything. They're inside the bomb site. Liaz so much to do. He needs more, but they swing too wide. JKS is helping. Massive damage onto Alexi and Aerial. And all 3 players from ENCE are stuck in the bomb site.
It looks like Sergey could end up being the gatekeeper. As you say, Aerial and Alexi, only 6 health between the two of them. They're all playing on the site as well. This is where a flashbang could absolutely neutralize his defense. And there we go. Sergey eats it in the eyes. He's still alive and kicking, though, and the damage actually going across to Renegades. They're going to hold the line with all 3 players left alive.
Who better than Sergey to step up when you need a round triple kill, one of the star players of ENCE, and perhaps actually the star player. So much excitement and hype coming up around this young guy. What a delivery there when your 2 teammates are on low HP and you're the point man on all the fights. Renegades on this retake almost get tunnel visioned on him as well. He was the first one they spotted. Perfect crossfires, perfect bait into the trap. And ENCE still alive. And now this round, so important for Renegades. If they lose this, they're out of money. This is a must-win scenario. Their defense has been so good. Nothing more important than this round 28.
Oh, that flashbang perfectly timed. Faction looking for the peak and loses 50% of his health in the process. Gonna have to think twice about re-peaking now. We thought this match would be close. We thought it would be intense and scrappy. And oh my, has it lived up to the expectations so far.
Yeah, it started scrappy and then it kind of stabilized in the middle, but now we've gotten to scrappy again, which is awesome. Each team clawing for every inch. ENCE 1 round away from tying it up, and they expected that to be clear because of the Molotov, and it's not to be. Great trades, great work from Jacob and JKS. Faction now rotated over with the op, and he can get a deep angle right next to the broken wall. Aerial, I don't think he realizes it, but they might need him to create something. They might need him to pounce from CT spawn because they're locked out of banana, and he's now going to start making his move.
This is where the confusion comes in, because surely Renegades need someone out over there watching. They're now going to find Aerial. I was going to say, get someone over there to make sure the wraparound can't come into play. The bomb's in a horrible spot for ENCE, but they have just picked it up. And now they're darting back down Banana, but that's into the embracing arms of Azza, who's going to claim the first. The bomb's gone into tunnel to make matters even worse for them. Alu, try as he may, is going to get the kill, but he's only got 20-odd health remaining. This is looking very poor indeed. Grenade going to finish him off round the side of Liaz. Very well read. And now Renegades, who've been up against it. Remember, they were trailing 5-10 after the first half. They've got 2 map points.
Yeah, this has been a great half for them, and Jacob is leading the way. 27 and 17 for him. He's had a phenomenal game, but you have to give a shout-out as well to Azza. He had 3 kills in that first half on their T side, the in-game leader of this team. A new in-game leader, really struggled to find production on an individual basis. But he's 18 and 20 now. He's got 15 kills in this second half alone. A really nice performance, a really nice step up from him.
Chip damage once again, putting a bunch of the ENCE players into that 1 headshot range of the Org. Up close, of course, it will deliver, but at range now too. 4-player stack up Banana. Are we going to have a fast end to round 29? And indeed, this map is looking likely. Jacob's opened up with 1. His account is brimming with kills at this stage. Molotov thrown in counteraction, but it's going to go in the smoke. But all this time, it has stalled ENCE. And they're not entirely sure if Renegades are pushing down mid at this stage. They may have to get a move on.
Well, now Azza's here as well. He's rotated over, and he was holding counter flash for the longest time. If ENCE did commit to that, he was ready to slow him down and help his teammates peek. That's the last piece of utility. 1 jumps around the corner. Good kill for JKS. He's so low. The follow-up peek from Jacob does it, and this spells the end for ENCE. It is going to be Renegades taking down ENCE in this first match of the Legend stage. They're going to go 1-0, 16-13. That defense, spectacular from Renegades, and Jacob ends with 30.
What a beauty of an opening map for us as well to commentate here, Moses. An excellent game back and forth until the bitter end. ENCE will be devastated. Again, it's off the back of that knife. Everything started to shift in Renegade's favor.
Yes, I mean, since that knife came out, it was a 7-1 run to close the map. ENCE is going to be face palming. That's going to be tough. Yeah, the boys. How about that, Alex?
Yes, I had him casting my eyes over the scores, and it is a spectacular result for the Renegades. We have got ourselves A new spot opening up in the Asian minor. Let's not forget, of course, the Asia Pacific minor usually features the Renegades as somewhat of a lock-in. Now that spot will be going elsewhere. Perhaps we'll have some Koreans venturing to the next one. Who knows?
Well, Tyler will have to go back down there, so they can just, take that.
They'll play
for that
that. Vici will be there as well.
Yeah, Greyhound, all the regulars. We won't let the new talent through just yet, but that's a fantastic victory from the Renegades just there. They were worried about starting slow. You heard it from Azza, and here they're able to come through. They're able to get both pistol rounds, which is the opposite of starting slow. And I feel like, Alex, they could have had even more rounds in that first half.
How so?
Well, the thing is, they were doing a lot of late round executes, right? They were just forcing back ENCE. They were getting them to just go back to their default positions and then just swarming like a 5-man B execute onto that B bomb site. It's about trading efficiently.
Sure.
They could have had a few more rounds there where they maybe, would have gotten lucky, because at that point it's like a 50-50, right? If they've saved the utility or not. But ENCE did a really good job of adjusting, and that's what stopped them.
It really did look fantastic. I mean, let's talk a moment about ENCE and what we saw from them, Jacob. This is a team that a lot of people are expecting to be one of the few challengers to make it to the champions. What went wrong?
They couldn't close out the rounds in the late stages of the game. I think Chad is right when he said that they were being pushed back, but I don't think that was a problem by any means for ENCE. So I think they played it perfectly fine. I think they had a good game. Losing both pistol rounds, still being able to be very competitive. Losing a very unlucky round with the whole knife thing, it is what it is. But they had, 3 or 4 clutches I felt they were favorable in. They all lost them. Had they just 1 or 2 of them, they would have been the winners of this game. I think ENCE can be okay with the way the game was played out by them. It was not necessarily a bad performance, but the fact they weren't able to close out the rounds and win the game is a big disappointment.
Yeah, to back that up with stats, there were 3 1vx situations in that game, all going towards Renegades, and that Alexi B versus JKS one on that A bomb side, that one right there was the one that, broke the camel's back in my mind. Alexi getting a little bit trigger happy there when JKS jiggle peeked around the box and then able to finish him off once he knows the position.
I was looking at multi-kills as well while on topic of stats, and Jacob, yes, 30 frags, but 11 multi-kill rounds. He was really delivering, and we talked about how, what separates this Renegades from that prior. Maybe it is Jacob, this Norwegian, who often does go undiscussed. A spectacular performance from him, and a big reason why they managed to pick that one up. We'll continue to break it down, but why don't we seize this opportunity to go ahead and hear from a Renegade himself. We have none other than the brains behind this brigade, Azza, who is with Frankie.
Azza, congratulations first and foremost, but we need to talk about that cheeky twist of the knife from Liaz. Whose decision was that? Because it totally turned things around for you.
I think he ended up running out of ammo or something, and then he just ran to a smoke and knifed someone, so a credit to Jay for knifing someone. So
you can't actually take credit for that one then?
Me? Oh, definitely not. No.
Well, let's talk about the decision to let it go to Inferno, because you've got a much better track record on Train, for example. So why Inferno today?
I don't think it came down to Train and Inferno. I think it was another map. But we did all the calculations with the video, and we knew it was going to come to Inferno, and we knew we were going to start T side. So we just made sure that we were prepared for it, made sure we watched them, and just we're pretty confident heading into it.
Now on your T side, you started strong, but we did start to see some issues, particularly with your banana and on your B bomb site. Are you slightly concerned now that your weaknesses have been exposed to the other teams?
I don't think we showed many weaknesses. I think it was more so that we started pretty slow. We were screwing up some of our defaults, which usually isn't something we usually do. So I think we're heading into the game. I don't think we're sticking to our game plan and playing our own game. I think we were a little bit maybe nervous or something like that. But credit to them, they destroyed us on some of their eco rounds, which was pretty shitty.
Well, we will hopefully speak to you later today, Azza, because you've got another best of one coming up later. But for now, we need to head back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Frankie. Yes, I'm going to have to apologize. That was my fault. I was the one that asked Frankie to inquire about Train. And of course, it was ENCE who removed it. DeVito did get a bit sketchy on our end of things. So I have got an excuse, I promise. But Dust 2 was the other option that they didn't choose to take. So moving swiftly on, we have got to close this one out, put a pin in it. Renegades holding fast, holding form. A win versus ENCE, it's certainly not a win versus the Legend team yet, Jacob, but that's enough to get excited.
Yeah, I think it's enough to get excited. I think once again they're showing that the foundation of of Renegades is getting stronger and stronger. I think the individuals are stepping up once again. This time around it was JKim. Next time it's probably going to be JKS. So they have a lot of different pieces, so to speak, to make work. That said, though, I feel that ENCE were the better team in this game, to be completely honest with you. I think they should have won. Those clutches, had they closed it out, it would have been a win for ENCE. And I think overall, Renegades got lucky.
Okay, and then on that bombshell, we will leave it for just a moment. The conversation does continue after the break, though. G2 take on Na'Vi. Star-studded game. We'll see if the gameplay looks the same. We'll find out after the break.